Grid reporting allows you to generate reports on an ad hoc or frequently run basis. You can determine what information shows and how to sort it. In this video, we will look at how to customize the employees grid, generate a grid report, and show you how to save a grid layout. To customize the layout, right-click on the grid and select Customize Columns, or press Ctrl-U. In this example, we will add Address 3, which represents the city in PayGlobal. To do this, navigate to the Available Columns area and type Add. This action will direct you to the first instance of address in the database. Select the checkbox next to Address 3 to move it into the Selected Columns section, then reposition it to sit underneath Address 1. In this instance, we don't need home phone, so select it in the Selected Columns section and use the arrow to move it back to the available options. This process will also be applied to last name and first name. However, we will add name from the available columns. In Available Columns, type NA to select name. Add name to the selected columns and move up to under Employee Code. After completing these steps, click OK. You will now see an employee grid that includes Address 3, showcasing the city in PayGlobal. Now we'll reduce the column width, as the columns are fairly wide. To do that, hover your mouse over the edge of the column until you see the column header and double-click on it to reduce the size. Repeat this for all available columns. Now let's group the grid by city. To do this, click on the header for Address 3 and drag it up to the grouping section above. Now let's generate a grid report. To generate a grid report, right-click on the grid and select Generate Grid Report. You can also press Ctrl-G. Set up a page break between each city by clicking under Page Breaks and Address 3, and then click Run Report. You can see the reports generated with each city on different pages. If an employee record does not have a city, the first page would be blank, just showing their employee code. Click close to close the report viewer. The report was sent to the PayGlobal inbox. If you want to see the report again, go to the inbox and double-click on the employee's report you just ran, and there it is there. Now, if this is a report that you want to run often, you can actually save this grid layout. To do that, right-click on the grid and select Save Grid Layout. Give the layout a name. In this example, let's call it Employee Addresses. Click OK. Reset the grid back to normal by right-clicking and selecting Reset Grid, and you can see it's back to what it was originally. If you want to activate this grid layout, go to View Grid Layouts. Right-click on the layout name and select Activate Grid Layout. Then when you click on View Entities, the layout is back as saved. We'll now move on to viewing Makeup Tables. Makeup tables are records that are attached to other tables. For example, consider the Employee Superfund record. To illustrate, let's go into an employee profile, navigate to Payroll, and then to Payroll again. Here, on the Superannuation Fund section, you'll notice that this particular employee has 2 records listed at the bottom. These records are stored in the Employees Superfund table. To view these records, you should first close the employee screen, then expand the Employee Details section, followed by expanding Payroll. Finally, go to Employee Superfunds, where all of those employee records are stored. This process allows you to access and review the superannuation fund records attached to each employee, providing a comprehensive view of their superfund details. To customize columns in Makeup Tables, you begin by right-clicking on the grid and selecting Customize Columns. This allows you to change details that are visible on the screen. For instance, in the context of a superfund record, you might want to view the employer percentage. To do this, start typing EMP and then select Employer Percentage. You might also want to include start date, end date, and whether the fund is active or not. Additionally, it's possible to add standard employee fields to this grid. Navigate to the Employee Code, where you'll find an Expand button. Clicking this button reveals a list of all standard employee fields. If you're looking to add an employee's date of birth, for example, you can select it from this list. After making your selections, click OK to update your grid. This will include the extra fields you've chosen, such as the employee's date of birth.